Hi, Stephen here. Today I'm going to talk to you about the pension auto-enrolment scheme. So the government published their strawman proposal on the auto-enrolment pension scheme recently. In other words, there's a very rough draft and the actual form of what it would be like is going to be very different. And personally, I'm in favour of mandatory pension schemes, so you shouldn't have a choice at all, because I believe people should be able to save and enjoy their retirement and maintain a certain level of enjoyment and have a certain level of income. So let's have a look at what they're proposing. There's a fair amount in it. So if you're between the age of 23 and 60 and you're earning over €20,000 and you're not already a member of a pension scheme, you'll be automatically enrolled into this new one. The self-employed and those outside those criteria I've given you have to opt into the scheme. Okay, employees will be free to choose from a limited number of savings options. I'm not sure who's going to advise on these and give employees the advice on those different funds. I don't know, will employers engage a financial advisor to talk to their staff and meet the cost of that advice? There's also going to be default options if the employees don't make a decision themselves. So how much did you have to put in? The initial employee contribution is 1% of salary, increasing 1% each year up until you're paying 6%. The employers are going to match that amount, and employers can deduct that from corporation tax. So then the state is going to contribute €1 for every 3 contributed by an employee, which equates to a tax relief of 25%. Now currently, the tax relief is at the marginal rate. So if you earn over 34,550, at the moment you receive tax relief at 40%. So reducing the tax relief on personal contributions is quite a bad deal for those who want to save for retirement and are paying tax at a higher rate. The scheme is going to be a defined contribution scheme. So the value at retirement is going to be based on how much you put into it and how your investments have performed over the time. Your pension pot will follow you between employments. It doesn't say what happens if you join a work pension scheme. Can you transfer your benefits out of the auto enrollment scheme? I'd imagine that you won't be allowed. Contributions will be capped on earnings up to 75,000. Now, the current cap on pension contributions is 115,000, so having 2 caps will only lead to confusion. So if anything, I can see them reducing that 115 cap down to 75,000. So opting out, you are auto-enrolled in the scheme, and after 7th and 8th month of membership, you can opt out of the scheme. Okay, if you don't opt out, then they plan on having some limited opportunities where you can opt out again, but they didn't say what they are going to be or when they are. If you do opt out, you're going to be auto-enrolled after 3 years, and then you have to wait to the 7th or 8th month again to opt out again. I agree with this procedure because people are generally pretty slow to take up pensions, so they need to have it automatically done for them. So if you do opt out, you get a refund of the value of your contributions. So if it's gone down in value or even up in the value, you get that value back. The state and the employer contributions will be used to pay for the running of the scheme. Again, I don't see why employers shouldn't get a refund of their contributions too, otherwise it's just a tax that they're paying. So the government envisaged this will be in place by the end of 2022, given that they've only rolled out the initial plans on it. That has to go through consultation, finalise everything, and then the IT structure has to be built. It won't be ready in 4 years. So who's going to run this thing? It's going to be run through a central processing authority, CPA, who'll receive all the premiums from the employers and employees and distribute them to registered employers or registered providers for investment. So we're looking at then insurance companies or fund managers will apply to become registered providers, and then they'll invest the money that they get. They've suggested that the maximum charge a registered provider can charge is 0.5% of the value of the fund, which isn't very much. If you consider a lot of very small contributions, someone with 20,000 salary, there'll be 2,800 put in a year, which will be €14 in fees in that year, and that's have to pay for this system. It's not clear again who's going to pay for the CPA. Again, they stated that the employer and state contributions for people who opt out will be used, but that's not going to be enough. It's going to have probably come from the exchequer, so it's going to be tax money. Will our tax go up? I don't know. So what happens at retirement? The paper's a bit vague at this stage into what happens in retirement. I don't think they've really thought it through yet at this point. The contributions will stop when the employee reaches state pension age. It doesn't say if you can access your fund if you stop before that. A lump sum will be payable at retirement. Again, they don't say how much it will be, 25% of salary or 25% of the value of the fund. I don't know. If your fund is a particular size, it says you may have to purchase an annuity. They indicate the bigger funds will have to do that, and I thought if you a bigger fund, then you can take more investment risk with your retirement income, and wouldn't need to have to purchase an annuity. Again, this is going to have to be fleshed out. They suggest that you may be able to continue in the scheme past retirement. Instead of putting money in, you can take money out, like under the ARF structure. I'm not sure if they allow the drawdown from the scheme. Surely they must be getting rid of the AMRF requirement that applies to the rest of us. So overall, I find it hard to know what to think about this. It's good to have some form of pension scheme, but I'm thinking that this government are looking at reducing tax relief for everyone down to 25%, which is a massive disincentive for a lot of people who try to save hard for their retirement. And the other question, where does that leave the self-employed? Company directors can still make company paid contributions and offset against corporation tax. They have a much bigger scope for making big contributions. Self-employed are much more limited in how much they can pay in, and then if they're only getting 25% tax relief, it's not a big incentive for them to save for their retirement. So it's early stages yet. The consultations are going on till the end of the year. They've a bit of a roadshow, and then we'll get a bit more detail. But there's other big changes coming into pensions in the next year or so as well. So we'll see how all that ties in together. So as always, if you have any questions, you can give me a call on my mobile on 086 020 6087, or you could drop me an email at stephen@bluewaterfp.ie. Okay, talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye.